Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's having a lovely day and evening. This is the Bodacious Rant with, another episode from Burn and Rye. Hope everybody's doing good. And as always, don't forget to give us a like, throw a subscribe in there, ring the bell. And, let's get started, shall we, Burn?
Yeah, man. I mean, like Ryan said, do all those things, and if you clicked on this video and you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title, we are just gonna get right into it, right into the nitty gritty of Moon Knight episode 3. So, spoilers, be warned, everybody. Last chance, go watch the episode, come back.
Exactly. So far, this show has not failed to disappoint for the most part. Solid action again. What else? And it just keeps going deeper into the mythology of Moon Knight and Marc Spector and the vessel that him and Stephen Grant are dwelling in.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like I said, man, did not disappoint. Another good one so far. We're halfway through this season though, so that's like it's like shit. How is this going to end, kind of thing? I mean, I feel like the story's progressing pretty well for the most part.
Yes, definitely. It's not one of those things where I'm like, we're halfway through, like, what are they doing? It's like, we're halfway through, and it's like, okay, like, things are definitely moving and heating up.
Yeah, I think this show's definitely also benefiting from a little bit more time, like, being, like, around 45 minutes. I think that's also helped a little bit. Because for only 6 episodes, if they're only, like, 6 half-hour episodes, it's like, what can you do in that amount of time? With all the stuff, with all the mythology behind this character. So
yeah, absolutely.
But let's get started into the spoilers, shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, cool. Like Burn said earlier, we are doing spoilers. So if you guys haven't seen this episode, come on back and dive into it with us. But let's get started. Like I said, I like that this is a switch up from the last two, where it's over, like, it's Mark's perspective, but. And you think he has control, like he's in control. It's like, nah. That was really interesting that the whole body switching was from his point of view this time, where it's like, now you know how it feels, kind of thing, or at least now we're seeing how him and Steven deal with it a little bit. So
it's such a really cool visual technique that they're using, and I really enjoyed it in the first episode. And to, like you said, see it from his perspective this time, where he's the one that's like losing it and coming back and seeing like the aftermath of things. It's like, okay, now like you said, now you know how it feels.
Like, I mean, it's like, now we know how he feels, but technically in the first episode, like, they were both going through it. But, because I figure they were in the same way how, like, they were going through that town in the first episode.
True.
So it's like...
Yeah, it's just we're, as an audience, experiencing that now. Oh, yeah, totally.
Exactly, yeah. But I like that they added the twist that, he thinks Steven's the one doing all this shit. Like, when he's trying to interrogate these guys... And then he ends up in the cab. I'm like, wait, what? Where am I going? Like, well, you said airport. What are you talking about? Mm-hmm. And the dudes, when you see those guys later, they're like, hey, we don't, like, leave us alone. It's like,
yeah.
What? You guys were just being badass like a couple minutes ago. What the fuck is happening? Mm-hmm. And then again, when they get him, he switches again. And it's like, dude, you just killed all these dudes. Like, but that's when Steven's like, I haven't done it. Like, what makes... And I thought... Yeah, why would Steven do any of this? Like, he's a coward. He couldn't do any of this. Like,
yeah, Steven's not a fighter or a killer. Like, this couldn't have been him.
No, not at all. So I like that there's the third personality that we have not met yet. We don't know anything about it. So, like, not even heard a voice of it or anything. So I'm interested to see what that'll evolve to.
Yeah. Would you like me to speculate on that now or save that for, like, later?
Please.
Cool. I mean, just because this is like the very little that I know of Moon Knight is that there are 3 distinct personalities. Initially, I remember there was a version where, and I think you know this too, that there was one where the 3 personalities of his were he thought he was Spider-Man, Captain America, and Wolverine. That's just one of the different versions. Moon Knight as a character in the comics has gone through many different variations, so there isn't like one set thing. But one of the things that has been set as of recently is the 3 personalities that they've established, and that's Marc Spector that we've seen, Stephen Grant who we've seen, who's very different from the way he is in the comics. In the comics, he's very much a billionaire playboy type thing. Think of like a Bruce Wayne type. And then we have a third personality known as Jake Lockley. And Jake Lockley in the comics is a New York cab driver. So he's sort of like this, like, down in the dirt type personality. Initially, it was just, these were like personas that Mark Spector made. He didn't have DID at that point in the comics, but then eventually they later changed it to, these are split personalities of his. So I think that will be the third one that they're bringing in that we haven't seen, and I think it's one that they hinted to in the first episode, for the girl who was saying that, that they were gonna go on that date for steak, and it's like, if you notice, like, she didn't catch that if it were Mark who went on that date, I don't think Mark would have initiated the date one, because he has that relationship with Layla and seems very set on his goal with Khonshu. So I think it might have been the Jake Lockley personality that was the one that asked her out.
Damn, that is a good thing.
I
I mean,
think.
I heard recently about the whole each of his personalities based on a different Avenger, like that kind of one that he can not only fight with or something, but also that matches that personality for the most part. But I didn't realize, and the Wolverine thing, I know everybody's thinking, oh my god, he's killing all these people. It has to be like Wolverine. I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, it's definitely not gonna be Wolverine or anything, but it's definitely a character who has no qualms about killing or anything,
Yeah,
because
even
he
more
messed
savage
these
than Mark.
yeah, he messed these dudes up, and even Mark is like, what the fuck did I just do? It's like, yeah, you went on a killing spree. Like, you scared these guys into, like, basically not talking. But I like that theory. That if it is Jake Lockley, I wouldn't be surprised if they tuned him up a little bit so he's almost like a sociopathic version of both of them. Maybe like a good, like, instead of being a coward, like, not a coward, I know I'm kind of using that, but more like just someone who's not a fighter like Steven, but complete opposite, and then Mark, where he doesn't want to kill people but knows he has to, wants to kill.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm interested to see how they'll do that.
yeah, kind of. Yeah, I like that idea where it's sort of Mark is sort of like the middle ground. Steven's the more pure of heart, and then this Jake Lockley is the more of the savage. Like willing to do whatever it takes to get justice done. So that would be very interesting. That's a good call.
Yeah, and then like going, and then well, how you throw out like the steak with the chick, like maybe it's better they didn't, because how do we know that guy wouldn't have just gone off on this chick? I don't think they would have, but you never know. So it's just adding more depth to this character, and like I want to see where they'll do that. And Ethan Hawke, man, he is still a very interesting villain. Every
Oh
time I
yeah.
see him on screen, I'm like, man, I just have this very, you know, what's the word I'm looking? Unnerving presence about him, where he's just all calm, walking, especially when Khonshu causes that eclipse or something like that. So all the gods have to meet with him about it. And that was another. I thought that was a great example of the budget they're using, like how we were talking last time about like that you don't see the demon fighting and stuff like that, but the set design with that little like courtroom for the gods or something, that was really cool, I thought. And
Like I guess what they said is like the inside of the Pyramid of Giza, right?
yeah, Steven, I liked hearing Steven just like, oh my god, we're in it, we're inside the pyramid of Giza. And Mark is like, oh, that's, you could tell on his face like, oh, that's where we are. Like, thanks, Steven. I kind of needed that, like, to know where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting that there are other avatars. Like, I didn't realize that was a whole thing with the gods. I thought we were gonna actually see them, but
Yeah, it's such a cool concept. And I thought maybe Khonshu was one of like the only ones, but to see that all of the Ennead, I think, or Enneads, I believe is how Stephen refers to them as the first episode. But to see like the other 8 gods in there, or I think it was 8. That yeah, they have like avatars, and they've, I guess, been living among us for the last few centuries.
yeah, but I'm getting a very much of what's the I felt like it was a reference to something almost like an Eternals level incompetence with this whole scene, where because they've given up on humanity and stuff, they kind of don't give a shit about it. And then it's like when Ethan Hawke comes in, because like, well, we're addressing the accused now, so might as well hash it out.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys clearly can't see this dude is just like I don't know. I just thought it was a little like, man, these gods are just dumb because they just refuse to see anything and they just have it against Khonshu.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Like this little section, I felt is probably the weakest section of the show so far, unless they reveal something later on that that some of these gods are in cahoots with Arthur Harrow, because yeah, this whole like trial scene was kind of just like, y'all are so dumb. Like unless I don't know if they're omnipotent or not. I don't think they are. At least that's not the way that they're framed. But they should know more than I guess they currently know, because I mean Harold's like having a full on dig site at this tomb of Amet. So it's like, how do none of these other gods know what's going on, or think to like pry a little more? And also, Conchu didn't really do a good job of pleading his case at all. It kind of got a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, I thought it was weird that Conchu was really like everybody was all calm in their possession, but with Conchu it was like really like almost draining Mark and Steven out of like oh my god, all right, dude, relax. I thought that was a bit of an interesting take on that, but
Good little acting on Oscar's part, though. Like, the whole him taking over, but you can like see in his eyes, he's like, "What's going on?" It was. I thought that moment was pretty funny, and I thought he did a good job of acting that part out.
yeah, and actually now that I think about it, maybe it's just because he's banished, so he doesn't have that same power like they do anymore. I don't know.
They have reason
But
to not believe him. Yeah.
so there's that, but then we find out later in the episode, oh, like he's talking to the one I think that was either Horus's or Osiris's avatar, and it's like, oh, no wonder. But even then, that scene was still a little weak for me. I was like, God, you guys are just dumb. But
Yeah,
I
not the
mean,
best.
no, but even then, it's like the MCU has really played out that gods aren't as omnipotent as we see. Like
No,
Odin
true.
is Odin doesn't see everything. Heimdall couldn't necessarily see everything. I mean, Heimdall is more competent. So are the Norse gods, but it's like we haven't really seen anybody else really be godlike essentially,
Right.
because they're all grounded. So
That's true.
yeah.
That is true.
And then just with I like the dynamic with Layla and Mark this time around more so, just because we're finally seeing them kind of hash out their history a little bit. Like she still cares about it, even though she's like, I'm not here for you. And she very well acted by this woman. I've never seen her before, so I'm glad that you
Me
know
neither.
she's a good like actor for this role. She's really playing it off very well. And I like that each episode's escalating the action, because when they try and see the tomb of that Magi, and then Harrow comes in and ruins it, but Mark just gets on this. I thought that was a very almost Batman-like scene where he's on the
Yeah.
ground 1 second, but then they look, he's gone on top of the pyramid. It's like he's all in the suit. I was like, yes,
Yeah, he
get
flies
it,
down
man.
and sort of like his Batman thing, but it's the moon, his moon
I thought
cape.
that was really cool, yeah. And again, man, we're finally seeing him fight, because we've seen him fight the demon in the last one, like the jackal, and now we're seeing him fight full on people. And he could literally take hits, because they threw spears at him, they pinned him to the ground, but he still kept going. So I thought that was
Yeah.
really, we're getting a good glimpse of what his power levels are essentially, especially when he's throwing those moon daggers like a ninja. That was really cool too.
Yeah, that was super cool. And then like that little moment where Steven's trying to take over and like trying to calm everybody down, and then he just gets impaled. Just
Yeah.
all right, take the body, take the body.
And he's like, all right, guys, let's calm down. I'm not trying to fight here. And just, never mind. Just, Mark, take it back. Take it back.
Yeah, diplomacy has ended. We're in the middle of a fight, dude.
Yeah, like, Steven, don't stop trying to do diplomacy in the middle of this. They're not going to work. And, again, we see more like that Layla's is a competent character where she's helping shoot these guys. And then that one dude that had a thing for her, he looks very familiar. I don't know where that actor's from, but
He was actually that French actor. His name's Gaspard Ulliel. I don't remember how to pronounce his last name, but he just passed away recently. He was the one that died in the ski
he was
accident.
Hannibal.
He was Hannibal, yeah.
Oh, man.
And Hannibal Rising, right? It was Rising. That was like the
prequel
origin
movie.
story. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Oh, no wonder I was like, this guy looks super familiar. But damn, this is technically probably his last role. So
Yeah.
that's crazy. That was a really cool like little action scene, and even though Harrow destroys that sarcophagus, I really like the way this ended, because she's telling him, we got to use Steven for this. I know you don't want to give up the body, but we need him right now to figure this stuff out. And I just like that they're starting to cooperate more. Like, okay, let's share this body a little bit. Let's try and get out of this alive. And he becomes Mr. Knight, and him and Khonshu with their last bit of powers. That whole twisting the stars in the universe was crazy. Turning back time literally was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just
Such
a
a
really
beautiful
crazy
visual.
Yeah, and then everybody was seeing it too, and that was the last straw for Khonshu when they put him in the little cool little stone totem thing for him. But it's like, God damn it, what's gonna happen next now? Like, he doesn't have the suit, he doesn't have Khonshu's powers. Like, oh man, that's gonna be interesting. But I can't wait.
Yeah.
Again, I'm glad this is the first show like this year where I'm like, oh, well, besides Peacemaker, that I'm like, I can't wait for next week.
Yeah, I mean, and that whole little moment added a nice little dimension to Khonshu, because up to this point he's been a total dickhead, basically. And not that he isn't, there's still moments where, like, he's looking at Mark and Layla like, I'll go to her if you don't do the thing. But him, willing to, like, essentially sacrifice himself to, move the stars back, and so they can figure out where this tomb is. I thought that was a nice little character moment for him to round him out a little bit more. And I know I haven't mentioned it in the episodes since, but F. Murray Abraham, who does the voice of Khonshu, or the dude from what's that show called? Mythic Quest, the writer.
Oh shit, that is him. Oh man,
and he's been in a bunch of other things. He's a great actor, but I most recently know him from Mythic Quest. But he does such a great job at voicing him. And Khonshu looks so cool in this episode. When he's popping up, we're getting to see him a lot more. And yeah, every time he shows up, I'm like, damn, that's a really good effect.
Yeah, very very cool character design. Very faithful to the comics from what I've seen. Like just googling him and stuff. And again, Moon Knight, man. Every time he suits up, it's awesome. I haven't been this excited for a character to suit up like this, I think, since when Anthony Mackie dressed up as Falcon, or like
Shang-Chi for me. That was
or
sick.
Shang-Chi, yeah. Or even when Wanda last year
Wanda.
got her Scarlet Witch look. I was like, oh shit, this is cool.
Yeah, badass.
So yeah, trying to think, did we miss anything in this episode? Was there anything else that popped up to you?
No, just Arthur at the end when he's talking to the little statue of Khonshu, and telling him how, like, basically he's the one who turned him into this way. Like, he enjoyed being that fist of vengeance for Khonshu, and now that's led him down the path to Amit, to enact true justice on people. It's like, damn, Khonshu, you really messed this guy up. You gave him a god complex, essentially, and he's really taking that personally. It's like, damn. Again, just such a great character moment for Ethan Hawke's Arthur Harrow. I mean, he's such an interesting villain so far, and that's not changing anytime soon, it looks like.
I can't wait to see Ethan Hawke in The Northman next week, dude. Like, seeing him in this show.
Oh, yeah, true.
We're getting him again in Northman next week. But I mean, is that all from you, Bern? We're good.
Yeah, that's basically it. There was just basically the whole Jake Lockley speculation. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe next episode or the episode after we'll get to learn a little bit more. But it's pretty cool to see that they're implementing that. Or it seems to be that they're implementing that character into the show, and I'm curious to see how they personalize him in the MCU, just because how the MCU does. They take inspirations for the comics, but they sort of rejigger it to fit the MCU, and I'm curious to see what their version of Jake Lockley is going to be, if it is indeed him.
Absolutely. I mean, next week we'll have to find out next week. Again, we're halfway through the season already, so guys, let us know, what did you think of this pentultimate, this mid-season finale, essentially. Not finale, but mid-season point.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know in the comments how you're feeling about the show so far. What'd you like about this episode? Was there anything you thought was kind of lame? Keep the conversation rolling. But that's all from us at the Bodacious Rant. So we will see you guys next time. And as always, stay bodacious and keep on ranting.
Absolutely, everybody. Be good, be safe, and we will catch you guys on the next one.